morning, I'm Corin here at Greenwood Bonsai Studio in Nottingham. Hope you've been enjoying our videos on our YouTube channel. Today I'm going to do a demonstration and do some work on this Japanese White Beech. It's a tree that's recently come into us from a private collection, and it's a little bit down on its look and it needs a little bit of restoration before we put it out on the bench for sale. So it's a Fagus crenata, white beech, imported from Japan originally, been in private ownership for a number of years, quite a wide base and good surface roots, but it has suffered a bit in recent years. It's apparently had an over-enthusiastic cat climb up through it, and it's resulted in a few branches being snapped. The previous owner has ginned a few of these as a feature. This one up here, if you look closely, it's got some wound sealant on it, but the branch itself has gone. It's just cracked very badly, and it's just dried up and died off. Also, this section here that used to form part of the top of the tree, that's been reduced over the years, so now it's just a stub with this little bit coming off it, and that's not doing much either. So the process of working on this tree, you know, it's got the potential to be a better tree than it currently is, and one of my jobs here is to work on trees like this, you know, prior to sale. It's not necessarily a short process, but what I'm going to do is show you the first stage of this process. It might take 2 or 3 years to get this tree back to where we want it to be, but if we don't start now, we're never going to get to the final result. So we've been evaluating the tree briefly. Firstly, these gins that are on it, I'm not really a fan of these on a deciduous tree like this. So one aim is to try and cut these a bit more flush, put some wound sealant on them to encourage them to heal over in future. Obviously we've got to cut this dead branch here off. This top isn't very good here, and the original front of this tree was straight in there towards you. So we've got quite a few back branches to give us some depth. This one's a little bit upright. See if we might be able to pull this down a little bit. And this as a front is no longer ideal. One of the issues is that at this point here, it's quite narrow on the trunk. This point here looks better if we come round here towards you as a front. So what I'm potentially going to try and do is to bring the front round here to the right, to lower this, to take that top section off, and then we're going to do a full wiring on it. Now at this time of year, this tree's only just come into us just a few days ago. It's just starting to leaf out. Ideally, it would have been nice to do this work 3 weeks ago, but at this time with this tree just coming in, I can't turn back time. So we're going to work on it today, but we need to be careful we don't knock these leaves when I wire it. So first things first, if I mark a front, I think we're going to try and have the front a little bit more round here, where if I mark it with these 2 bits of wire. So we're going to aim for a front more in there towards you. So these stubs that are on it, these gins here, we can take these off so that it'll flusher with a little mini chainsaw. We'll tidy those up a little bit more. This section here, this branch, already said that had snapped off. We can probably do that with let's do that with a concave pruner. So round here with a large concave pruner in here, remove that branch and neaten that cut up against the trunk. Another one here and here. We'll put some cut paste on these shortly. This top section here, look, all it's got on it is this. In fact, this looks like it's sort of dying back. That's dead and brittle, look. Yeah, so this top's actually died off down to here. So again, we can remove that. You can see the dead in the core there, look. So that's it's given up on that. So let's tidy that up again with a concave pruner, a good clean cut that we can seal and then we can get it to heel over. I say this is the first stage of working on this tree. So what we need to do now, we need to try and re-evaluate the tree and try and make this area the new apex. There's another stub in there that wants removing at the back of the tree, so snip that off. And then we've got another section here. And then another gin here, if we can get in at the back. Remove that. Another one here on this branch. Here on this one. Another stub here. Little one in here. Another one here. And then I'll take these two back as well. And then that's most of those stubs tidied up on the tree. So we're going to have a front here. Let's see if I can bring this branch. Might try and bring this down a little bit. This one here, there's quite a fine branch under here. I'm going to try and bring this down forward into this section to fill in. I'm going to try and bring this top section up, and this one down, and this one down and forward. There's quite a lot of wiring to do on this. The next stage, taking them stubs back, I'll neaten those up a little bit more. Let's take these old leaves off that are hanging onto the tree, tidy up some more of these little stubs, and then my next procedure with this tree is I'm going to get all the branches wired on it for you and position them, and then we're going to finally look at possibly getting it into a better, more suitable bonsai pot.
One step and I will fall up. This lesson is a blessing and a harsh one. What does it take to break these chains and these kind of divide? I'm not something, I must be from someone. She wants to take me into the light. She makes everything alright. She wants to take me into the light. She makes everything alright. She wants to take me into the light. She makes everything.
As you can see, I've just done some carving to neaten up some of these cuts. We'll use some cut paste on these. Just apply it out the tub. Wet your fingers down, otherwise it will rather stick to your fingers than stick to the tree. And just we'll use that to cover these cuts. That will promote good healing and callus on these cuts on the tree. So this will do it better for in future, to get rid of those stubs that in themselves were unsightly. At least now we can move on and start to get bark and callus forming over these, what were these old stubs and dead bits of tree, which we don't really need. What's right, I can tell if this hope is choked. We stumble on all we believe. This won't be a breeze, it don't make sense to me that we never open up our minds. We only open up our eyes, reflect what's wrong, what's theirs, what's mine. If fear is your answer, you'll never take So I've just finished wiring this tree. It's took about 50 minutes. We've done it in a time lapse for you to wire all these branches. Once they're wired, I've started to shape them. There was a couple of branches in at this point, which on close inspection were actually dead. They've not got any life on them. So I've had no option but to take those out as well. So we've tried our best, once these are out, to fill in with the branches that we've now got. We've put a guy wire on this lowest branch to pull it down and to bring it rearward a little bit. The front's marked in here towards you. The next thing with this tree really is to get it into another pot. We're a little bit tight on the time frame of doing it. It's just coming into leaf. But I'm going to put it into a slightly larger pot. This one's too small for it anyway, and I've got a pot that I think will suit it a little bit better. So we're just going to get cleaned down and set up with a potting table, and then I'll show you the repotting procedure. Okay, so we're all set up to do a repot on this tree. This pot that this beech is in is a little bit too small, and also I feel the tree's raised up in it a little bit too much. I found this pot, which is just a little bit longer. It's a nicer design. I think it will suit the tree a little bit more. So before we can get it into that, I've already put some wire and mesh into that pot, got it prepared for this tree. But the next thing we need to do is to try and get this tree out to this pot. So again, I'm not quite sure how long it's been in here for. There's a wire on this side. Let's cut these other wires underneath. We'll see if we can take it out. Might be a bit of a nuisance. Might have been in there for a while. And it is an incurved pot. And if there's ever a pot that's going to be a nuisance, it's an incurved pot like this. So what we'll do is take those markers out. We'll use a little bonsai sickle to run around the edge of the pot, which is just going to slice through any roots that are growing under this lip just here, and it should allow us to remove the tree a little bit easier. Okay, so we've loosened around the edge of the root ball, particularly this root and this one. I think there was a heavy root going down under this lip. So we've cut through those with a little saw. So now it should just pop out. There we go, nice and cleanly. Lift it out of the pot. Right, so move this pot out of the way, we don't need that now. Next thing, doesn't look like it's been in there for too long, probably a year or two, but it does want something a little bit larger. So I'm going to just comb away the edge of this root ball. I'm not going to do too much, but just sort of tickle it around the edge so that we can get it into this new pot. Get rid of this stuff that we cut through here. Knock these corners off a little bit. We're going into an oval. This looks like it's in a mixture of grit and akadama, maybe a little bit of keodama or pumice. We're going to put it back into a neat akadama mixture, which is what I tend to favour for all my deciduous trees here in the UK. Obviously, you know, we've had a lot of people asking us about compost mixers, but I tend not to recommend too many different ones, because depending on where you are in the world, what trees you've got, what budget you've got, and availability of product makes a huge amount of difference. So I'll always tell you what I'm using, but obviously you can tailor that towards your own environment and watering regime. So once we've got it to this sort of stage, we could probably just have a little bit of a snip on these corners to get rid of some of the long roots. They're not taking too much off. A little bit here, a little bit on this corner. We'll have a little comb out on the underside, just to loosen that up as well. Again, just a little, there's a little old piece of wire there, look, from before. Let's pull that out with a pair of bonsai pliers. Let's just trim a little bit of these off, just to neaten it up, tidy it up on this underside. And then let's see what it looks like in this new pot. So I think this pot will suit it a bit better in shape, and it's a little bit larger. The tree is going to be round here towards me. We're wanting to try and have a front in there towards me, so we're going to have to reduce a little bit more off this front corner to allow us to rotate it in the pot. So something up there, and correspondingly on this back corner here. And then we can use a good stiff brush to neaten up that transition between the soil and the roots. Like so. Here's the tree over there. So a little bit of tidying up as we go along, not too much. And then we'll take our tree again, and with those sections taken off, that's more comfortable in there now to try and get it positioned into the new pot. I've brought the front round here a little bit to the right from what it was before, so that we're not looking at this thin section so much, and then I've brought this branch across to hide it as well. So now we know that fits in, we need to add a bit of compost. So as I mentioned, we'll just use a good quality grade macadamia for this tree. Put the layer of that in the bottom of the pot, followed by on the tree, and we're going to put that in like this and settle it down onto the macadamia and make sure we get the angle of the tree present correct, the front towards me here. Get it right on the bottom of this pot. Let's get it a little bit deeper than it was before. Once we get it to this sort of position where we want it to be, then we can fill in with macadamia. Again, I always leave the wires and do that at the end once we've got this in. So get the macadamia in first. Use a potting stick just to work your way round the edge of the root ball, just guiding the macadamia down around the edge of the roots to the edge of the pot, so we don't get any air pockets. We work it in around the roots of the tree so that it's got fresh macadamia right at the edge of the root ball to allow it to grow strongly and healthily into that new compost and soil. And then a bit of a tidy up again. A little bit too much macadamia here, bring that round here. And then these wires, just to secure the tree in. This one's going to come across here. This one here is just going to come across like this and into this one. Just pull them, twist them together like that, and trim off any excess. Push that down into the soil. Do the same with this one round here. Just to keep it secure in the pot. Push that down. And then a little bit of tidying up around the edge, just to neaten that up, and then move some tools out of the way So as I said to you when I started this tree had been through the wars a little bit. It had had several branches snapped off by a cat. It had also had a few branches had died off on it. So we've got no option but to remove those and work with what we've got left. So we took off the bits we didn't need and the dead bits. What we've got left, we've wired, positioned. We've altered the front of the tree. We've positioned the branches so it's got a nicer habit and structure than it had earlier. And we've took it out of that small pot, something a little bit larger, a nicer pot, nicer design, suits the formality or the informality of this tree. We're now going to lift it outside, give it a water. We'll shelter it for the next few days. We've got a chance of frost here in the UK for the next few nights. So we'll just put it somewhere where it won't get too much frost. And we'll just look after it and grow it on for this season. We'll feed it every month with Naruco fertiliser, hopefully get some good growth on it, get some vigour back into the tree. You know, I'll say this is the first stage of potentially a 2 or 3 year process to get the tree back to what it was before. But it's quite a large stage to do this, and it's brought it on a lot from what it started with just in real time about an hour and a half ago. By all means, please subscribe to our channel, check out our other videos. We've got quite a few of them on there now. We're trying to do new species. We've got some more lined up that we're going to do, and I hope you enjoy them, and thank you very much.